Hello. In my New Testament classes at Liberty University, the students have to write a final paper for me. And one of the options is to do a biblical biography of a New Testament character who figured prominently in Jesus' life and ministry. Each term, several choose Mary Magdalene. For centuries, she has been one of those New Testament figures about whom much speculation has swirled, thanks in part to the fanciful theories about her relationship with Jesus. See, for example, Nikos Katsantzakis' The Last Temptation of Christ, and the more recent Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code. Mary of Magdala continues to command curiosity from students and scholars alike. However, much of what we think we know about Mary Magdalene has no basis in the actual text of the New Testament itself. The name Mary Magdalene occurs 32 times in 12 verses in the Gospels. Moreover, the situation is further complicated by the fact that the name Mary occurs 51 times in the Gospels, and it is not always possible to determine which Mary the text has in mind. In brief, there are three Marys who figure prominently in Jesus' life according to the Gospels. Mary, Jesus' mother, Mary of Magdala, sometimes called Mary Magdalene, and Mary of Bethany. Now, of course, no one mistakes Mary, Jesus' mother, for the other two Marys, but many have incorrectly assumed that Mary Magdalene and Mary of Bethany are the same person. They are not. Mary Magdalene is a prominent Galilean woman who became a follower of Jesus Christ. She is called Magdalene because she came from Magdala, which you can see in the picture behind me, which was taken from the top of Mount Arbel looking across the lake from the west to the east. Magdala, a small fishing village and shipbuilding village situated on the western shore of the Sea of Galilee at the southern end of the plain of Gennesaret, the small but fertile plain on the northwestern side of the Sea of Galilee near the present-day kibbutz Nof Genosar. Incidentally, the Sea of Galilee was referred to by locals as Lake Gennesaret, derived from the Hebrew Kinneret, which in turn comes from the Hebrew Kinor, which means harp or lyre, because if you look at the lake from, say, Mount Arbel, it is clearly harp-shaped. The name was pronounced Gennesaret in Greek, and the term was applied both to the lake and to the plain on the northwestern shore. Magdala probably takes its name from the fact that it's set at the foot of the entrance to the Valley of the Wind, or as it's sometimes called, the Valley of the Doves, because the wind whistles through the valley sounding like cooing doves. The valley is part of the natural wadi system of the Via Maris, the Way of the Sea, that guided caravans from Nazareth to Capernaum. See my book, Where Jesus Walked, published by Judson Press for more information. Now, Magdala is Greek for the Hebrew Migdal, which means watchtower. At the entrance of the Valley of the Wind, Wadi el Hammam in Arabic, are two large natural stone towers, Migdalot in Hebrew, that appear to guard the entrance to the wadi. Hence, the village that lay on the lake's shore came to be known as Magdala, after those Migdalot. Now, in the New Testament, Mary of Magdala is said to have been the woman from whom 7 demons had gone out. See Luke chapter 8, verse 2. In the New Testament world, where there was no notion of secondary causation of things, that is, they had no concept that illnesses were caused by germs and viruses, everything was considered either to be the work of God or the work of Satan and evil spirits. Hence, demon possession was thought to be the cause of such physical maladies as leprosy, epilepsy, paralysis, and various forms of mental illness. There is, however, little if any evidence that ancients believed demons to be the cause of promiscuous or salacious behavior. That's a distinctively modern idea, not an ancient one. And so the tradition that Mary was a loose woman before she met Christ and that he delivered her from her salacious ways is just that, a tradition that has no basis in the text of the New Testament. The tradition was perhaps abetted by the fact that Luke in his gospel introduces Mary of Magdala immediately after his story of the woman who was a loose woman according to Luke, who washed Jesus' feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. See Luke chapter 7, verses 36 to 50. But nowhere does Luke ever identify this woman as Mary Magdalene. Indeed, the fact that he formally introduces Mary in chapter 8, verse 2, following that story, probably means that he doesn't want his readers to understand the woman of Luke chapter 7 as Mary Magdalene. Then, of course, the fact that the unnamed woman of Luke 7 washes Jesus' feet and wipes them with her hair has caused some to mistakenly associate her with the Mary who does something similar in John chapter 12, verses 1 to 8. However, John specifically identifies this woman as Mary of Bethany, sister of Martha and Lazarus, not Mary of Magdala. Mary Magdalene was, as I've already indicated, a Galilean, while this Mary, sister of Martha and Lazarus, was a Judean from Bethany, a small bedroom community on the eastern slope of the Mount of Olives. Moreover, there is no hint in the stories of Mary of Bethany in the New Testament, see for example Luke chapter 10, verses 38-42, that she had ever been delivered from demons. They are clearly not the same person. The confusion, unfortunately, continues to be perpetuated by uninformed persons who pass on the information. And so I thought it would be helpful here to offer the evidence from the New Testament itself about Mary of Magdala. She's been the victim of identity theft long enough. I hope that helps. Till next time, take care. God bless.